Question. How many of you conduct actual buyer consultations? Buyer consultations when you're actually meeting the buyer for the first time. Do you meet your buyer at the house? Do you meet your buyer at a coffee shop? I guess pre-COVID. Or do you meet your buyer maybe like in the office? What do you guys do?
I normally meet them in the office.
Good.
And do
And why is that? Why do you meet your buyers in the office versus just jumping in your car and showing them a house?
I want to make sure that they understand the process. I want to make sure I understand what they're looking for, just to kind of get to know them a little bit if I don't know them. I'll try to get a lender involved. Now, sometimes they'll just do a conference call with us. I just want us all to be prepared on the same page before we go out looking at houses.
Okay, all right. So basically what you're doing is you're walking them through the entire home buying process, right? What you're also doing is you're setting the expectations, right? And you're also, your job as an agent is also separate or differentiate yourself from many other agents out there and bring value to the table.
Correct.
Correct, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I think there's that connotation there from a lot of buyers that agent is basically a doorman or a doorwoman, right? Their job is just to go out there and open doors, not like that's it, right? So what we got to do is we definitely have to spend more time in educating our buyers, especially the ones that we never met with before, and really share and show and bring a lot of value to the table, okay? So the way I do it and the way I teach my agents to do is absolutely right, Michelle, is to bring those buyers to the office. Over 90% of the buyers that I've been working with for the past 7.5 years, they all came to the office. I either ask them to come to the office or I meet them at their house. If they have a house to sell, I meet them at the house.
Yes, I've done that too.
If, let's say, they are too far from my office, then I'll just meet them somewhere in the middle. I'll usually utilize my lender's office. I will utilize my title and escrow company's office. And the last resort will be a coffee shop, but it's not going to be Starbucks. Nothing against Starbucks, but it's just too small, just too many people. I call them freeloaders. They buy a cup of latte and they sit there for 3 or 4 hours. That's not what we want, right? There's just no privacy.
Yeah.
Right? And it's very hard to build any type of a connection or rapport when you got a bunch of people like all around you and you have to whisper. Okay? So ideally what you want to do is you want to bring them to the office. Now, if the office is too far, see if your lender's got an office nearby or your title and escrow. The company that we use, the title and escrow, First Arizona Title, they have 5 or 6 offices around the valley. Okay, get an office, get a conference room, and meet them there. Okay. Another reason why I like to meet them in the office is because when somebody comes in, okay, let me just admit a couple of people. It looks like we got a couple of people. When someone's coming into your own domain, if you will, right? Their behavior is going to be different than if you say you were able to meet them at the house. They're going to behave a little bit differently. They're going to be probably a little more professional, right? It's like almost when you're coming to the going to the attorney's office or going to the doctor's office, right? Your behavior is going to be a little bit different, right? The treatment of that professional is going to be a little bit different. So I believe when they come to your office, okay, you right away is the king or queen of that domain, okay? You got the upper hand, if you will, and now you have their full attention. They are with you in the office, they're in a conference room, they're listening to you. They're watching what you're presenting it to them. It's much better to do it that way versus, again, going out there and showing them home. And guess what? When you show them that house and they don't like that house, do you think they're going to stick around for another 15, 20, 30 minutes and listen to you? Probably not, right? So the opportunity that you're supposed to have in making a connection with them or building that relationship with them is not really there because they really just wanted to go there and see the house. They didn't like the house, okay? And now they're moving on. They're like, hey, thanks so much for showing. We'll be in touch. So very important is to make sure that the buyers that you're talking to, especially for the first time you're meeting with them, they come to the office. Another reason you want them to come to the office is because of the safety. Especially if you're working with online buyer leads, you don't know who that individual is, right? So you go, you show the house, God forbid, he's a criminal or she's a criminal. You never know. So you definitely want to vet them by asking them to come to the office. It also shows how motivated the buyer is. If he or she are willing to jump through the hoop, if you will, drive for 10, 15, 20 minutes and meet you at the office. So when you bring him to the office, okay? Does any of you have a deck or the PowerPoint slides that you guys use to educate your buyers on all of the value-added services and benefits that you're going to be offering to them as their agent? Okay. Do you have anything like that? Do you use anything like that? Okay. No, Michelle?
I do, but I want to tweak it some more. But I do have some graphics and things that they can to go through the process. And
okay. So I'm going to show you what we use internally. And by the way, you can take that, you can modify it, you can add your logo on it. That's perfectly fine. Okay. But let me, before I do that, I want to also go over some of the steps that you want to take before you actually meet the buyer, ideally in the office, maybe in their house, or a title and escrow company's office or lender's office, okay? So when you book an appointment, everybody can see the slide, by the way. Mm-hmm. Okay. When you book an appointment, what we want to do is we want to send them an email. We want to send them an email. We want to send them a video via text, okay? Covering all of the things that you're going to discuss or, go over with them at the meeting. Especially this is concerning to, again, first-time home buyers, online buyers, sign call buyers, even the buyers that you meet at the open house. When you're booking that meeting and you're inviting them to come and meet you at the office and you're basically asking them to drive for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, you got to be able to present the value in the email as well as the video. So this way they're not wondering, why am I driving to the office? What is the point? What is the purpose? So you got to have an email template that will list all of the things that you guys going to go over during your meeting. For instance, when I send them an email, okay, I say, look, I'm going to help you to walk through the entire home buying process. That will cover you getting pre-qualified. So I'll make sure I have a lender on standby, physically or virtually. Okay. We're going to go over your home buying list. Again, I put that in an email. Okay. Then we're going to look at some of the properties online that may be a good fit for you. All right. And then the last thing on the list is going to be, if we have time, if time is permitted, we can go and see one or two of these houses in person. So I include that in the email body. So this way now they know why they're coming to the office, or they're meeting you in general in office. Now, I send that email, but what I also do in addition to it, I record a quick video. It's no longer than 20 seconds long, and basically says exactly the same thing that is just listed in the email. Hi, Johnny and Betty. It was a pleasure talking to you over the phone. I am looking forward in meeting you this Saturday in my office at 2 p.m. This is what we're going to be able to cover. Boom, 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 boom. Please feel free to call me with any questions. If you would like to reschedule, please let me know. But I'm looking forward to meeting you this Saturday at 2 p.m. Quick video, record it, text that video in addition to the email. Okay? So in the email, in addition to that text that you're going to include, you also want to attach some of the information so they can review it before the meeting. What I like to do is, what I like to include, by the way, all of this stuff is in your buyer toolbox. All of you have access to it. If you don't, please Melissa know. Okay, what I like to include is our home buyer guide. That's included. It's basically based on the PowerPoint slides that I will then present to them. Okay, it educates them about the entire home buying process, the differences between the buyer's agent and the listing agent. Okay, talks about our team, talks about the benefits from us, what we're going to be able to offer, some reviews, 5-step home buying system. Okay, so that's something that you can include in the email for them to review, again, before your meeting. We also have an extended version of it. It's called Master New Home Buyer Packet. Okay, that has everything that you basically need or have going to discuss during your meeting. Like why it helps to have a great buyer's representative. Home buying process, find an agent, pre-approval, find a home, write an offer, inspection, repairs, finalize loan, walkthrough. Different type of loan programs. Common misconceptions. Like myth, you need to have an excellent credit. Myth, you can't qualify for a mortgage with a student loan. Myth, the buyer always pays closing costs. Myth, you pay for commission. Home buyer's checklist. The list will help you to get organized and prioritize the choices you want in your next home. Okay, so a needs list, a deal maker, a deal breaker. Moving checklist. Steps to becoming debt-free. 7 steps to becoming debt-free. As you can see, there's a lot that you can include that, again, separate you from a typical agent. Okay, a typical agent is going to confirm a meeting, get in the car, drive to the showing, show the house, hand a business card, maybe MLS Plano, and that's about it. Imagine how much value you bring into the table by sending them this packet right here. Like, how much do I really make and spend each month? I mean, this can be very essential to a lot of buyers out there. Okay, and that's something that you can include in your email. That's something that you can also print and give it to them during your meeting. Okay. Do you have any questions about this particular packet? Do you think this is something going to be of a value to your client, to your buyer? It is, right? So it is available for you guys. You guys have access to it, you know, like with everything else. Okay, let's continue. So in the email, we want to, again, include that. Okay, again, we want to include the explanation of the home buying process. The more information that you could include in the email, that would be great. Another thing that I include is I have a testimonial booklet, testimonials from my clients. So if you guys have reviews, if you have testimonials, whether they're Zillow, they're Yelp, or they're Google, or they're just emails that you got, right? Make sure you put something together so you include that as well, part of your package. Okay? The sole purpose of the materials is to pre-sell your services, more importantly you, so they're ready to sign before you even meet with them. Like, they're ready to go and work with you. Also very important is when you're sending it via email and you do not get an acknowledgement back, you want to follow up with them the next day to make sure they receive your email. There are times when emails end up in the spam box. Trust me, I deal with this every time. So we want to make sure they receive the email. We want to make sure they reviewed your email. And then you want to also follow up with them on the day before the appointment. Okay, so follow up the day before the appointment and then also confirm the appointment on the day of the meeting. So if you're meeting them at 2 o'clock on Saturday, don't wait until 1 o'clock to confirm with them. Please. I mean, not everything revolves around them coming to you and meeting with you at 2 o'clock. They got other shit going on. So if you are meeting with them at 2 o'clock, you want to try to follow up with them the day before, but also that day at around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, you want to send them a text or give them a call, right, to confirm your meeting. And the way I do it when I confirm my meetings is I say, hey, John and Betty, looking forward to meeting you today at 2 p.m. Boom. That's it. I don't say, hey, I just want to confirm. Hey, I just want to make sure we're all set. No, looking forward to meeting you today at 2 p.m. Excited to see you guys today at 2 p.m. Can't wait. But I do that 4 or 5 hours before my meeting. Now, if you're meeting at 9 a.m., the night before, evening before, you want to send them a quick text. Okay? Any questions? All right. Let's continue. Let's say John and Betty show up at your office at 2 o'clock. You meet them, you greet them, all right? What you want to do is you want to continue developing that rapport with them that you had, started over the phone. So a small talk, about their family, about their kids, if they have any kids, right? About their job, about their plans, about their goals, anything to break the ice. This is a great time for you to just ask some open-ended questions and let them speak. This is not the time to fire up the PowerPoint slides. Because if you're going to do that, that means, honestly speaking, they're going to look at you and say, well, okay, so she's trying to sell me on something. There's a time for that. So the first step, and it's really a 3-step approach. If you include a lender, it's a 4-step approach. The first step is to continue develop that rapport with them. You ask them questions about what they're looking for in their home, what's important to them. You ask them questions about their family. Find something in common. Find out about their schedules, right? That's right there alone can be a 15, 20-minute conversation. Okay? So the key is to establish the authority and position yourself as the expert as you begin and continue developing rapport and asking buyer qualification questions. This is very important. Very important is, for instance, right now, because we are experiencing a huge shortage of inventory. I'm dealing with this right now with my buyers, is to really sit down with them and separate the needs from the wants. The need list from the want list. You're going to have buyers, including mine, that will give you the entire smorgasbord on the list. They want this, they want that, they want every single thing. Oh, by the way, my budget is only $280,000, $290,000. It's unrealistic. So our job as experts, as professionals, is to educate them and guide them, but more importantly, to differentiate or separate the two lists without discouraging them, without them feeling like, you know what, their opinion does not matter, without making feel like you don't want to go and actually do the work for them. There's an art to it. So here's how I approach the situation. And maybe you guys do the same exact thing. So I said, Robert and Laura, you guys, it looks like want a pool. You guys want to have a 2-car garage. You guys want to have a move-in ready kitchen. You want at least 4 bedrooms. You want to have a community that has no HOA. Great, awesome. Those are your key requirements. Let me ask you this. If we will find you a house that checks all of these boxes, but it's an HOA community, would you still want to see it? Oh, yeah, absolutely, Alan. We definitely want to see it. Okay, well, if you're going to see it and you like it and you're getting a good deal on it, would you write an offer on it? Yeah, absolutely. We're going to write an offer on it. Okay, so really, it's not a must, right? It's more of a like, optional. Kind of, great. The second question, pool. Well, let me ask you this, Robert and Laura, you said a pool is a must, correct? Well, Alan, you really want to have a pool. We have a pool right now in our house, and our son, he swims in a pool, all of those things. Okay. So from scale 1 to 10, 10 being a must, 1 being not really important, where do you rank pool? Well, we want to be at like around 10. Okay, great. Well, let me ask you this question. We find you a house that is move-in ready, has a 2-car garage, no HOA, okay, 4 bedrooms, checks all of your boxes, but it does not have a pool, but it does have a space for the pool. Would you still want to see it? Well, Alan, I don't know. It's just, How much is going to be to build a pool? I said around $35,000. Well, Alan, if it checks all the boxes, yeah, we want to see it. Okay, so now pool, instead of being number 10, a must, it's more of a 5 or 6 or 7. So that means it's okay for me to show you homes that do not have a pool, correct? Yes, Alan, we still want to see those homes. So now you're expanding the search from, let's say, 8 or 9 houses into 25, 30 houses that have no pool. And you can do exactly the same thing with 4 bedrooms. Another question I had for them was like, well, you guys, I know want 4 bedrooms, correct? Yeah, we really want 4 bedrooms. Well, let me ask you this, guys. What if we find a house that has 3 bedrooms plus an office or a den? Would you be open to that? Well, yeah, as long as we can put a door there so we can have some privacy. Okay, so if let's say there's a house that checks all the boxes, has a pool, but doesn't have a 4th bedroom, has an office or a den, you guys are okay with it? Yeah, we want to see it. Great. So now we're expanding the search a little bit more. You see what I'm doing? So when you have that kind of conversation, you're being honest with them. And by the way, you're doing all of that while you're on MLS. You're showing them exactly what is going on. Okay, so now with Robert and Lori, instead of having 9 properties, now we got 26 properties, 27, 28 properties to look at. But it's our job to do so, so this way we don't put ourselves in a corner where here's what happens. If you don't send them properties on a regular basis, what do you think they're thinking? What do you think they're thinking of you?
You don't know how to do your job, or they're not important to you.
Bingo. They don't know that there's just no properties out there that matches their criteria. They're assuming that you got 5 or 6 or 7 other buyers that you're working with and you just do not have the time for them. Even though they're the ones who put you in that position by saying we want all of these things. Want and need are 2 different things. I give you an example. A client of mine, he was a referral. Him and his wife came into my office. They just sold their 3-acre property in Temecula, California. And they're like, Alan, we're looking, and this was about, I would say about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, maybe possibly 3 years ago. We're looking for a house, at least 2,500, 3,000 square feet with a 1-acre property. We want a garden. We want to plant a bunch of trees. We want to be under $400,000. And oh, by the way, we want to be either in Peoria, North Glendale, or North Phoenix, Desert Hills area, under $400,000. All right. So at that time, the prices were still not as crazy as they're right now. I showed them 4 properties in Desert Hills, Carefree Highway, 7th Avenue, 7th Street out there. And that day it was raining, and 2 or 3 out of 4 properties, it was just dirt roads getting into those properties. The first one, his wife didn't like because it was a dirt road. The second one, she started asking me, where is the nearest Trader Joe's and Costco? The third one, she was like, I don't know, Alan, I like wildlife, but I don't know. I mean, snakes and javelinas and coyotes and scorpions and all the other things. Not sure this is something for me. Even though I like gardening, I like wildlife, but that's not for me. So at the end of that showing, if you will, they decided to go from an acre property, then eventually to a half an acre property. And guess what? What they end up buying? They ended up buying a 3,000 square foot house, Pulte home, a new build with a 7,000 square foot lot. Right here on Happy Valley and 105th Avenue. These are the buyers that showed up in my office saying, we want an acre, nothing less, because we had a 3-acre property in California. So buyers change their minds all the time. And I'm sure your experienced agents know this. Buyers will change and they're going to adapt, especially right now, the way that things are. Okay. We got to be constantly setting those expectations, constantly, and managing those expectations. Okay. Any questions? Okay, wonderful. Let's continue. So once you establish that rapport, once you establish the feeling that, you know what, they're getting more comfortable with you, they're opening up more to you, they're sharing things with you, you say, hey guys, you know what? The next thing that I would like to do, and I prepare this for you, is really kind of show you what makes us different from other agencies out there or other agents out there. I want to walk you through an entire home buying process, right? And show you what exactly you're going to be experiencing during your home purchase steps. Is that something that you would be open to in learning more? Oh yeah, great. Do you have about additional 10, 15 minutes? Oh yes, we do, great. And that's when you fire up or open up the PowerPoint slides. Okay? So the slides, again, you can change this. It's completely up to you. All right, so these are the slides that I run, where I start by educating them and explaining to them the differences between the seller agency and the buyer agency, between the listing agent and the buyer's agent. Not every buyer out there knows the difference. Not every buyer out there knows the limited representation. Okay, so that's something that you definitely want to cover when you're starting your PowerPoint slides. Okay, there are huge benefits in having buyer's agent to represent you. For instance, when you're working with the listing agent or the buyer's agent, this is something that can be provided to you by these agents. Arrange property showings, assist you with the financing, provide you with property data information, explain forms and agreements, and monitor closing process. Okay, but I don't know if you know this, only buyer agent can do this. And you go through the list. Now guys, can you see this list by any chance? Let me see if I can increase the size of it. Okay, probably much better, right? Okay, so protect buyer's interests at all times. When you have a fiduciary to your buyer and you're not working with a seller, right, you're protecting their interest at all times. You're advising and or disclosing to buyers all matters, even if it means pointing out reasons not to buy. You're preparing property values or CMAs for the buyers, even if it's low. You represent buyer only. You're not representing the seller. You structure offers in a way to promote and protect buyers. You keep buyers' financial capabilities, thoughts, and willingness to pay more for a property strictly confidential. Again, you got a fiduciary. You represent buyer on MLS listed properties. You send them properties that are regular, traditional sales, foreclosures, for sale by owners, new builds. So you send them that list. You negotiate home inspection, repairs, occupancy dates, and buyer credits. Okay, and again, the most important thing, you got the fiduciary obligation or responsibilities to the buyer. So right there alone, you working for the buyer. You're not working for the seller. You're not working for the home builder. That's another thing, by the way, we need to educate our clients about. Is like, hey, when you're going to the a new build office and you're talking to their sales rep, that sales rep is employed by that home builder. They do not have a fiduciary to you. They do not. Okay? And if we work with you, we can review the contract. We want to make sure that all the terms and conditions are met. Okay? And oh, by the way, you don't pay us a dime working with a home builder. So why not have an advisor, a professional expert that does this for a living to make sure that all the terms and conditions are in compliance with your wishes. And you're gonna pay me a dime. Okay? So our team will help you with these 4 following areas. We will help you to secure the best and the lowest financing that is available based on your credit. Okay? We're gonna find the best home that meets your criteria. We're gonna negotiate the lowest price and the best terms for you, because not only you're hiring me to show you homes, but you're also hiring me to negotiate on your behalf and get you the best possible terms. Okay, and we want to make sure the entire process from A to Z is going to be with least amount of hassle and frustration on your end. Now, are there going to be some hurdles to overcome, challenges to overcome? Absolutely. But you're going to be in great hands. I do this for a living. I work with a lot of clients. I'll make sure that every single time you are prepared, you know what you're doing. There are not going to be any surprises. So you go through these steps. Now, this is where you can incorporate your loan officer into the conversation. If I'm working with a buyer that hasn't been pre-qualified yet, I always make sure that my lender is on standby, because that's another value-added service that I'm offering. Right there in that meeting, after you're done with all of this, you can say, hey, you know what? I scheduled a 5 or 10 minute conversation with that lender. Would you be open to that? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Great. Get your lender on the phone, get them pre-qualified. Okay. Step number 2, you talk about how you're going to be sending them properties. For instance, you can do it from MLS. You can also do it through Sync, our CRM that we use, that you guys all have access to. You can use it. You can do it through KV Core. That's another CRM that you can use to send them properties. Okay. Try to encourage them, and teach them to use our products versus Zillow. When they're using Sync or they're using KV Core, every time they log in, you're getting notified. Every time they're viewing a specific property multiple times, you're getting notified. You're not getting that with Zillow. And with MLS, I don't know if they change things in their portal, but right now, when you send them a list of properties, the only notification you get, and correct me if I'm wrong, is they actually opened the email. They viewed it. It doesn't tell you how many times they viewed at the specific property. With Sync or KV Core, it does that for you. Okay. Step number 3, we're going to help you to get your home. We'll help you get the home you want with our specialized market knowledge. Again, by the fact that you're bringing them to the office, you're professionally dressed. Okay, you're presenting them these slides. You have a lender on standby. You're walking them through the process. Shows them that you're a professional. Shows them you're a professional. The fact that you work a specific area of town where they're looking to buy means that you have the specialized market knowledge. Okay, they got to know that. Again, we want to make sure that we close your transaction quickly and with least cost and hassle as a result of our unique team sales approach. And what I mean by team sales approach, you can mention about the fact that you have a team. Tracy and Kurt, you're a team. Virginia, Quentin, Adrian, you're a team. Even if you're an entrepreneur agent and don't have a team, you have a transaction coordinator that you can work with, Beth, she's a team. You have a designated broker, that's part of the team. If you're working with Tristan, that's a team. Melissa, me, all of us are a team. Talk about the team. Okay, here's one thing that I offer for those buyers that are kind of on the fence, especially right now, especially the ones that are feeling that they have to settle for their next house or home to purchase. I tell them this, hey guys, you're currently renting. Oh yeah, we're renting. We've been renting for about 4 years. Okay, how much are you paying a month? Well, we've been paying $1,500 a month. Okay, $1,500 a month. You multiply that by 4 years. How much is that going to be? This is how much you guys pay. So even though we may not find you an ideal home that checks all of your boxes, okay? Here's what I will offer you. Here's what I'm going to offer you is if, let's say, you buy this house and something happens, you don't like the house, you don't like the neighborhood, or you decide to move, or Johnny got a job transfer in a different part of town, I will, if you list it with me, I will sell it for free. I'm not going to charge a commission on the list side. So that 3% commission, you don't have to worry about. And you have 24 months to do so. Now, why am I doing this? You might ask. Well, first of all, they're already buying it with you. So you're making money right there. Okay, let's say it's a $300,000 house. Let's say the commission is $9 grand. If they're unhappy with that house, instead of going and listing with another agent, why not list with you? You don't pay them anything, or you don't charge them anything on the list side. Just charge them maybe a $995 admin fee. So it covers your transaction fee and your lockbox, your signage, and everything like that. $995. But guess what happens? There's a little condition that states if you're going to list with me and I'm selling it for free, you must use me to buy your next home. So they're still going to use you to buy their next home. And if their next home is going to be $350,000 or $400,000, guess what? You're making $12,000 on the purchase side. Plus, you have a client who's using you again, who may possibly refer you to another person or two. You see? So that's something that I'm telling my buyers right now. I say, hey guys, we may not get everything that you want in a house, but it's better than paying $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 a month to your lender, not lender, landlord. To your landlord. Why? Because in a year or so, or maybe 2 years from now, when you guys are ready to maybe get into a larger house or maybe a different neighborhood, we can help you with that. We will list your house and we don't charge you a penny in terms of our commissions. Okay? So that's something that you definitely want to talk about, again, when you're meeting with them. Unfortunately, when you're showing them a house for the first time, you're not going to have that opportunity. It's hard. Like all of the things that we're talking about here, it's hard to do that when you're showing them a house. Any questions? Any questions, guys? Martha, Marcelo, Quentin, Adrian, Virginia, Tracy, Michelle.
Nope, I love that idea.
Right?
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, again, especially right now, right? You will have buyers. Man, I kind of feel like I'm settling. I kind of feel like I have to buy a house because there's just nothing out there. Okay, that's fine. You better buy this house with 3% interest rate than paying 100% interest rate to your landlord. and your monthly payments are going to be less than what you're paying right now for your rental. And in a year or so, when you feel like, you know what, I want something better, bigger, better neighborhood, fine, we'll put it on the market. You don't pay me my commission.
And
Oh.
just use it as a stepping stone too. That's how I always tell them, you know, it's, if they're not in your forever home, then use it, put your money somewhere instead of just paying rent. It's, you're going to be able to roll it into another property most likely, depending on the market, but.
Exactly. And again, going back to my personal clients, Robert and Laura, I helped them to purchase that house 3 years ago that they currently have it under contract for $215,000. Right now they're selling it for close to $300,000 3 years later. It was not the ideal home for them. In fact, they didn't like the fact that it backed up to a little commercial parking lot with a building, right? But in 3 years, they're walking away with about $75,000 in equity. And now we're going to buy him a different house, a better house. So that's something that you want to definitely consider when you're talking to those buyers that are kind of getting a little bit discouraged, feeling a little bit defeated, feeling like, you know what, there's just not much out there. Talk about this sell it for free guarantee. Okay.
Alan, I have a question. Did you say it's only good for 2 years, the guarantee?
The guarantee is good for 2 years. So there are two conditions. Number one, it's for 2 years. They don't pay you the list commission, but they still have to pay the co-broke.
Right.
And number two, they still have to use you to buy their next home.
Okay. Why only 2 years? I'm just curious.
We can do 2 years because usually that's when people, if they're not happy or whatever it is, that's when they make a move. But you can change that. You can change it to 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You can eliminate that at all completely. You can remove that verbiage.
Okay.
But again, the reason I do it is I say 2 years because if you have somebody who's kind of like, well, I don't know, I don't know, I'm not 100% sold on this thing, but we got to do it. So, all right, no problem, guys. Within 2 years, if something happens where you don't like it, just give me a call. I'll put it in the market. I don't charge a commission.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the question, Martha. All right. Each step of the way, you'll benefit from again, this is something that we just reiterate, innovative home buying programs, our technology, our unique team sales system, our specialized market knowledge, valuable consumer benefits. Then you walk through how it actually works. They're telling you what they're looking for. You put all of that information into into Sync or KB Core or MLS, and then it will start sending them a bunch of properties. Another way I go about with my buyers is I said, look, guys, I'm putting you in control of your home search. And what I mean by that is I'm going to send you the properties. If you like the property, before we go out there and start looking at that house, why don't you do some research? Ideally, you want to drive by that property, see if you're going to like the neighborhood first, okay? And if you do, then let me know, and I'm going to go and meet you there or meet you the next time, to show you the house. Now, this may not work right now because the way the market is, right? We got to be there. We got to be there pretty quickly. There's no real time to go there and do our additional due diligence. But as market slows down, there's going to be more inventory out there. Okay, this is something that you want to make sure that you set as one of the expectations. Like, hey, why don't you guys do some driving around? Make sure you like the neighborhood first, and then we can go there and see it inside of the house. And then you just kind of go over the benefits again, the benefits that you're going to be offering them as an agent. All right, there are 8 benefits. Again, we're going to help you to get pre-qualified with one of our really good lenders. Okay, number 2, you receive the best new listings that match your criteria. Number 3, you're backed by specialized market knowledge and expertise. Number 4, our entire team of professionals at your disposal, and you can name all of us during the meeting. You can also mention that you're going to cover a portion or in entirety a home warranty. Okay, especially right now, the way the market, most of the time sellers are not even paying home warranties. Okay, you can pay for it if they're too concerned about the property that needs a lot of work or a lot of repairs. Okay, that's something that you can cover it. Or you can do it 50-50 with the seller, or you can have the seller to pay for it. That's something that I usually include with my buyers. Okay, if I don't get it from the seller. Also, you're going to get a written cancellation guarantee. So for any reason, if you're not happy with me, you're not happy with the work that I'm doing, if I'm not meeting your expectations, you can cancel our agreement at any given time. Okay? So that's something that is very important. Now, you may ask, what is the agreement? Agreement can be a buyer-broker exclusive. Okay, buyer-broker exclusive agreement. We also have a VIP buyer agreement that states basically all of the things that we're going to provide them. It doesn't really truly have the teeth of the buyer-broker exclusive agreement, but it gets them to commit in writing that, hey, you know what? By signing this, I'm committing to agent. Okay, but we want to make sure that at the end of the meeting, you either have the buyer-broker exclusive in place or a VIP buyer agreement in place so they can sign. So this way, you know for a fact they're going to work with you. Now, from my experience, there are many times where my buyers did not sign. I did not even ask for it. I did not lose them. So it's completely up to you. If you don't feel comfortable in presenting buyer-broker exclusive to them, then don't present it. If you're not comfortable presenting the VIP buyer agreement, don't present it. Okay, but that's something that I suggest you do, especially with buyer broker exclusive. If you're going to be working with somebody who you don't really truly know, and you're going to be showing a lot of homes, right? You want to be protected. You want to be protected. So buyer broker exclusive, especially right now, because we as agents spend so much time with the buyers, and buyers are getting more and more antsy and more desperate in some cases, and they're looking for other avenues, other ways of finding a home. We want to be protected. Okay? And then, of course, you get priority access to a list of competent affiliates that we have in a brokerage. We have a list of vendors that we work with. I'm sure you all have a list of vendors that you work with. That's a value add. You know how many times I get asked, hey, Alan, do you know a reputable landscaper? Do you know a reputable pool company? Do you know a reputable tile guy or electrician or a contractor or a handyman? The list goes on and on and on and on. That's a value that you can bring to the table. Have a list of all of these vendors, all right, and make sure you share that list with them if they decide to work with you. This is also going to be important when you're going and showing homes where they have questions about like some of the condition of the house. You know, they're like, oh my gosh, it's going to cost me a fortune to replace these carpets. No, we're not. Oh my gosh, it's going to cost me a fortune to replaster this pool. No, it will not. This is how much it's going to cost you. Or I can refer you to somebody who can give you an actual bid. Okay? So then how do you ask them to sign that buyer broker exclusive agreement? How do you do that? Okay, so that's the last step. And here's how you propose it to them. It's like, well, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, or Mr. John, Miss Betty, as you can see, there's a lot of value that we're going to be offering to you guys on a daily basis. And all I ask in exchange for that value is your commitment, is your loyalty. Is that something you'd be okay with or you're open to? Oh yeah, absolutely, Alan. Yeah, we like what we see and we like what you guys offer, this and that. Great. So all I'm asking you then is to sign this buyer broker agreement where you're going to be employing me as your agent to go out there and show you those houses and find you that ideal home. Okay, great. Where do I sign? Right there. So now you got a buyer broker exclusive signed that you already prepared. Okay, all you need is their signature. So again, the way you propose, like, as you can see, there's a lot of things that we're offering you as an agency. Me as an agent, me and my team. And there's a lot of work to be done ahead, obviously finding your next home. What I'm asking you in exchange though is your loyalty, is your commitment to give me a chance, an opportunity to find that home. Is that fair? Yes, it is. Great. Well, here's our buyer broker agreement, an employment agreement that we ask all of our clients to agree to before we start showing homes. Is that okay? Yeah, absolutely. Please sign. Okay, so now you guys protected. So you met them, you build a rapport, you show them what you're going to do differently than any other agent out there, you introduce them to your lender, and now you're asking for their loyalty and their commitment to work with you. Okay. The whole meeting should be at around an hour, hour and 20 minutes. No more than that. And now you got a client who understands everything, hopefully, and also a client who understands your expectations of them. You're setting those expectations. It's the same thing, by the way, setting expectations when it comes to being available or not available during the day. For instance, you know, one of the challenges that the agents have, especially newer agents, is the fact that, you know, their clients just do not respect their time. They will call them, they will text them at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the evening. They'll text them on the weekends, call them on the weekends for stupid stuff. So what you want to do is, again, during that meeting, when you're asking about their work, I usually ask them, so Robert, what time do you usually get home? Well, you know, Alan, I usually get home like around 5:30. Okay, awesome. And what do you do then? Well, you know, I usually jump in a pool during the summer months. I play with my kid. I maybe have a bottle or two of beer. Okay, awesome. So like by what, 7 o'clock or so, 6:30, you're pretty much kind of done. Yeah, like about 6:30, 7 o'clock, I'm watching TV, spending time with the family. Okay, so Robert, guess what? I'm the same exact way. I usually get home like around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then open up a bottle of wine and maybe have a glass or two. I spend time with the family and the kids. But usually 8:30, 9 o'clock, we put them to sleep, and then like at around 9:30, 10 o'clock, I go to sleep myself. So typically what happens in this situation, Robert, if you have any questions or concerns, shoot me a text or call me before 6:30, 7 o'clock. I'm going to be there for you. But after that, Robert, I'm sure you can relate to it because you're doing the same exact thing with your son. You know, I'm going to be busy with my family. And I'm sure you understand that. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Alan. I completely understand that. Great. So any questions that you got, I'm available from 9 a.m. to about 6:30, 7 o'clock. Is that cool with you? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. Now you set the expectations. So now you're not telling him, well, I don't accept any phone calls after 7. You're saying, look, I'm busy with something else after 7 o'clock. And I'm sure you can relate to it, Robert, because you're doing exactly the same thing. You know, so you got to set those expectations, guys, because once you scale, once you have like 4, 5, 6, 7 buyers that you're working with, and then you have sellers it's going to be hard because they're going to be calling you, they're going to be texting you at any time of the day, and that's not the way you want to run your business. That's not the way you want to run your life. Our earnings, our income potential is on the same level as a doctor, a lawyer, a CPA. Same. You know, we can make 150, 200, 300, 400, $500,000 a year. If you're working with a doctor, are you texting your doctor after 5 o'clock? Or you cannot even text them during the day. Same thing with an attorney. You're working with an attorney. Are you calling that attorney at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening? No, you're not. So how are we different? The reason we're different is because we allow it to happen. We allow it to happen. So my clients know that, hey, after 6:30, 7 o'clock, unless it's an emergency situation, I'm not answering the phone. I'm not answering. That's it. Okay. All right, guys. I think that's about, let me see if there's anything else I can. Okay. Also in that toolbox, we have scripts for online buyer leads that we got right here. You have access to that. I think that's pretty much it. We covered this, we covered that, we did this. I don't know what that is. Brokerman checklist. Brokerman checklist. There's nothing in the checklist, so you need to check with Melissa about that. Any questions, guys, before we go?
Hey, Alan, this is Adrian.
What's up?
Couple things, I guess. One, my previous life before I started doing this, I was a manufacturer's rep and I worked for a broker in the pet industry. And I could tell you that, like, we were a full service broker, and what that meant was we had a big team. And so every time we had meetings with clients, the power of the team, you know, if you can do a good job of explaining all the data, all the resources, all the relationships with, you know, you got the lender and the title guy, and you have this team behind you, opposed to some realtor that walks in and is just by himself. So you want to push that really hard, that there is a lot of power in team.
Absolutely. A lot of people out there, and I'm talking about like buyers or even sellers, thinking a realtor doesn't have a team, probably works out of the shoebox, you know, home office, runs around with shorts and flip-flops, whatever it is, right? And that's pretty much it. Absolutely not. That's why it's so important for you to invite them to the office so they can see the operation. They can meet your team members. They can meet like someone like Melissa or Tristan or me or other agents or Tony, our lender, right? They meet them. We all part of the team. We all part of the team. You know, and I always when I, you know, present to my clients, whether they're sellers or buyers, I always say we as a team, we as a team.
Right. So if we as a team, it means that you're bigger than that guy that's just by himself. You're bigger, you're stronger, you can move faster, you can provide more information, all that stuff. That's what it means.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
then the other thing I would say is the part where we can provide buyers listings quicker or even before they hit the market. That's like huge right now. Huge selling point.
Absolutely. And this is something that we talked about, I don't know, Adrian, if you attended my class maybe about 2-3 weeks ago. What we can do right now is when we're talking to the buyers, we got to let them know that, hey, you know, we're not just going to be relying on active MLS listings for you. Okay, we're going to go and we're going to be contacting for sale by owners for you. We're going to be circle prospecting the neighborhoods where you want to buy. Okay, we're going to be sending out letters telling the homeowners that you're working with a buyer that is looking to actively move into that neighborhood. We're going to do that. Okay, we're going to be calling old expired listings. We're going to be calling old canceled listings from a year or 2 ago, 3 years ago that did not sell their house. Right? So we're going to be door knocking. We're going to be doing everything at our power and our disposal to find you that next home. So that's something needs to be obviously conveyed to the buyers when you're talking to them, not only on the phone, not only when you're meeting them, but every single time. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm not just going to be relying on MLS. I'm going to try to find you a house outside of MLS. That's a great point, Adrian. Thanks for bringing it up.
Sure.
All right, guys. Anyone else? No? All right. Tracy, Michelle, any questions from you, ladies?
I don't have any.
No? All right. Marcelo, any questions from you, buddy? Nope. All right. Quentin and Martha, any questions from you guys?
No, thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for attending. We're actually recording this. So we're going to publish this on our group page and then also our YouTube page. So you can go back and view some of the areas that we discussed. In the meantime, you know, if you have any questions about buyers, sellers in general, business-wise, you all got my phone number. Feel free to reach out. Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.